Happy Sunday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This just another day. I think I've let the inks on this David Finch homage dry enough. So I'm going to clean up the pencil lines using my trusted kneaded eraser. And then do, let's use a proper eraser at first. The only part that's really important to erase is the edges around the characters, in this case, just so there's no weird lines sticking out. Oops. Like there's no silhouetting. Everything else doesn't matter because they're just going to get painted. So as long as there aren't any weird lines sticking through in areas that there shouldn't be, like inside the claws, make sure those are nice and clean. The background doesn't really matter so much. Sure these fingers are nice and clean there. See if there's anything that looks, and outlines for the crop marks. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a diluted ink wash in the background to give a little bit of a cloudy, smoky texture. And then once that's settled, to do a base color. Let's see what else we got. That looks weird. Yeah. The kneaded eraser is actually picking up some of the ink, which is different. Like you see around here. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's all getting painted over anyways. Put the eraser back in its box. Good. For the ink, I'm going to use Liquitex Carbon Black acrylic ink. Put a couple of drops here. I do need a piece of scrap. There's a piece of scrap paper. Just add a bunch of water here. Yeah, nice and light. I think what I'm going to do is actually wet the surface too a little bit. It'll just help get smoother edges. Ooh, it's a dirty brush. That's not good. What's going on here? Okay. Still picked up something from the side of the water container. This is watercolor paper, so it should take really well to the wet medium. It actually helps dilute the ink even further. Going on a wet surface is just working really wet on really wet. And I'm just dabbing a little bit of ink here and there. See, it is very, 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 very subtle. Which is exactly what I want. I'm just gonna get a wet brush and soften those edges. I guess I'm about to find out exactly how waterproof these the pens I used are. As that's starting to settle, you can add another layer. Back with the wet brush around the edges. just to soften those up. And this is pretty much the same as you would do with watercolors, working on a wet to wet, palette, or wet on wet technique. You just keep on layering more. More and more layers. And I'm using a really abused, I guess this is a number 4 filbert, but you can see it's really worn. I like keeping the worn brushes for texturing and things like this because it gives you a nice texture, hence keeping them for texturing. Go a little bit darker here. Losing focus again. Excuse me. Adjust that. There we go. It's all still wet, so it's easy to continue to blend. And down here, this should be darker. Now at a point, as the paper gets too wet, it's going to start almost flaking, and that's really kind of the paper's way of saying stop and let it dry. It's starting to happen a little bit over there. that's a good opportunity to move to another spot. Okay, so while the top dries off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a chiseled flat to do a little bit of shadow work on the background. Start creating some values there as well. It's too dark. It's definitely too dark. So this piece is lit from the right, so I'm trying to add values to everything that's on the left in the background. Start giving it that sense of form. Not getting too into the characters, but I might end up doing a little bit of the values on the characters as well. Haven't decided. Or at the very least start adding a little bit of value to value and texture to Sabretooth's hair and fur. Most of this, just like the ink lines, will be lost once the paint comes on, but it will help define some volumes because I'm not going to paint super thick. So some of this subtle, or some of these subtle value shifts are going to be present. Let's do a little bit on the gold as well. As in with any underpainting technique, whether you do it with pencil or ink or colored pencil, whatever you paint, the more solid the underpainting and the values structure in the underpainting, the better it's going to look colored. Also, the faster it's going to be to color. Because then the colors just work as a detail layer, not so much as a value layer. but I don't really like to do black values on skin tones, so I'm not going to touch the arms on Wolverine or his face. But everywhere else, it's kind of fair game. If you've watched me work on the Colossus, the Joe Jusko Colossus Master Study, there I did the underpainting in the black pencil to get the various gray values, which I think is kind of my preferred approach to this. But that doesn't work well with the hard inks, which is like the black, all the black lines here. And then considering this is David Finch homage, can't not have heavy line work on it. It just wouldn't really have that David Finch feel. So it works a little bit better with fluid inks. This is mask all gold. All right, it's coming together. I think I'm actually gonna bring out a smaller brush and do a little bit more detail. And what's interesting with this carbon black is that it's a warm black, so almost feels like it's got a touch of brown in it. And I've never really spent the time to really research what's, the pigments and kind of how the different blacks work. But I know that the carbon black is kind of like yellowish, and you can even see as it's drawing here. Yeah, it's not really black. Which it doesn't matter to me. But if I wanted solid black, I'd probably be using India ink. Yeah, definitely need a smaller brush. Those of you that have been kind of following my process on this piece over the last week, or I can't remember when I started it. It is a very slow, kind of slow process on it, and this is not how I do things most of the time. But I like experimenting, and when I'm working on a commission that isn't on a tight deadline, where the client is patient and flexible, I do like to try different things. It helps me grow as an artist. It also helps me to change up the monotony of doing the same thing over and over again. So it's just something I think a lot of artists struggle with. This kind of not getting bored, but you kind of feel like you're in a bit of a rut because you're just doing the same thing over and over. You kind of get lost in your own head. So I do like to try different things often. The downside to it is that you never know what you're going to get. Right? I don't have a clear vision in my head of what this is going to look like at the end. Which, if I was doing a traditional for me anyways, pencil underpainting, then glazing, like I do most of my trading card sketches, I pretty much know what that's going to look like by the time where I'm done the pencils. I already in my head know what color is going to go where, what kind of brush I'm going to use, and the effect I'm going to create. But when you're doing something different, kind of experimenting like this, a lot of the troubleshooting or the problem solving happens live on the board or the card or the canvas, whatever you're working on. So and you don't know how long things are going to take because you're experimenting, right? So but I do enjoy this ink underpainting approach. It's something that the paper makes such a big difference. If you're not working on a paper that likes to get wet, like watercolor paper or any type of cotton sheet, you actually end up struggling with the paper more than anything else because it just doesn't take to the wetness of the medium. gonna do some shadows on Sabretooth as well, but I'm gonna do those later or after, just because he kind of covers everything. So I don't want to smudge any of the stuff that I'm doing now. Sorry, shaking the camera. Shaky cam. It's like the Blair Witch. See, at this time, can build on more texture to complement the line work. I think what I'm actually end up doing on the skin parts, I'm gonna do the same thing but with burnt umber instead of black to give me a brown base. I think that's gonna work just fine. Unless someone's got a better idea or an objection. this piece of stone here needs a little texture, so. All the highlight stuff I'm going to do at the end to really make the metal look shiny. So the whites I'm going to add on top. So I'm not going to get too worked up and trying to leave white areas for them, because I'm just going to cover with so many layers of paint anyways that you're not going to, it's going to be impossible to try to keep them clean. What is this thing? Oh, it's a little rebreather. This particular technique doesn't really have much of an ugly phase, because the ugly phase in the traditional, my form of traditional acrylic painting is the rough values in color. But because all the rough values are not really that rough in this sense, all the values are pretty much defined. When you get even layers of color on top, these values are going to show through. So even with one complete layer of color, just defining the individual spot colors on the various elements, it's already going to have form. So I shouldn't, I say that very cautiously, shouldn't have to do too much value definition and color. It should just be the flat base color, then a layer of darks and a highlight. The mid-tone should pick up all the values from the ink. Yeah, I say that cautiously because should. Because it should. Doesn't mean it will. It's too dark. Whoops. I hope that didn't make any. I need to stop dropping my brush on the work. That would be a good thing. So, stores are finally reopened in my part of the world. Stage 1, phase 1, whatever. So, kind of curious to hop into some art supply stores and see what they have on the shelves, because it was pretty slim pickings last time things were open. Got some new brushes, some medium, some paint. Stuck up a little bit in case things go sideways again. Can't rely on Amazon. All right, so I'm gonna start doing some work on Sabretooth. I think I'm gonna need to touch up the edges on his little fin here with a fine liner once this is all dry. Get a sip of water here. Just darken that while I'm at it. Oh yeah, almost at the hour mark. I'm gonna work on this for a while, so I'm not worried about the time, but I am trying to stretch my legs every hour or so, which is going to be a good opportunity to let some of this dry properly before I start doing another layer. So now that I think about it, I don't think I don't need to do the browns and the skins and burnt umber, because I'm still going to do a color wash over the whole thing. So, and it's probably going to be like purple going to blue, which is going to work well anyway. So I'm just going to do the values on the skin in black anyways. And if it doesn't look good, I can always paint over. So let's just do that. It's not that much skin anyways. It's interesting is looking at the original art. It's got kind of mixed lighting, which doesn't make sense, which is what I followed with the inks. But now that I'm doing the actual lighting, it's like this nose shadow should be on this side if he's lit from the right. So I'll have to make some tweaks there. It's going to look good at the end either way, I hope. The lighting on the small details is going to make it or break it. But I know me, and it's going to bother me. Yeah, really on the Wolverine face, he's lit from the left. Everybody else is lit from the right. That's why, yeah, this is okay. That's a little strange. Or he's got two lights on him, one from here and one from here. I'll figure that out. It's one of those things I think I'll need to figure out once I put color to see exactly how it comes together. Because there's two schools of thought on this stuff. Like, one is just make it look cool, and then the other is make sure it looks correct. It is correct, but the contrast there is that sometimes things that look correct aren't realistic. Aren't very exciting. So you got to take a little bit of liberty and change things up a little bit, whether it's lighting, anatomy most often, right? I like when I draw things from scratch, I really try to maintain proper anatomy when doing people. So I use a lot of reference images, mannequins, 3D models, whatever. Of course, that goes out the window when doing creatures. This is, I've said so many times why I like doing Venom so much. Is he's one of those things that he just looks to look cool. It doesn't need to make sense. Same with Carnage, Swamp Thing, Man-Thing, Hulk. Though Hulk, I can't Still can't really wrap my head around it, around him, how to make him work. Oh, and Juggernaut. Juggernaut just makes no sense to me. I don't know how to get that helmet on his head. Okay, so I think this needs to dry a little bit because I'm starting to see a little bit of the paper starting to act up, which means it's getting too soaked, which is good timing because just at the hour mark. So I'm gonna go stretch my legs for 5 minutes at the little boy's room. Let this fully dry, and or not fully dry, but dry more, and I'll touch it up some more. It's a little bit more texture in here. Then I'll get into a bit more detail, let it sit again, and then do the first color wash. Hopefully it'll dry fast enough. I'm okay working on this today without switching to another piece, as long as it dries in a reasonable amount of time. And the acrylic inks dry a lot faster than watercolor. That's just their nature of acrylics. All right, so let this dry. Where's my watch your paint dry piece? I'll leave that there if anyone hops in the meantime. I will mute myself as well. And yeah, give me about 5 minutes. I'll be back. Wrong button. All right. That's feeling good. No, add a little bit more contrast to the background. Looks like might have Warner hopping on in a little bit as well. See what he's up to, what he's working on. All right, okay, getting there. All right, let's go back to detail work. Debating doing any values in the clause. I mean, there's a little bleed in there, but I think we'll just ignore that. Getting another little bit more ink. Starting to dry up. Hey, Kevin. Yeah, this is it's getting there. Thanks for tuning in. If you're having a good Sunday. Oh, looks like we got Warner hopping in. Just give me 1 second. Adjust my audio.
Oh,
Ready?
here we go.
Here we go. It's on. Oh, let me shift
Yeah,
this.
man. Saw you were working more on this piece.
Yep. Just slowly and surely.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Well, just got home from a soccer game and was sitting in my recliner, petting my dog, and thought, yeah, I could pop on.
All right. Well, welcome to the party.
Well, it's great to be here. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
So what are you working on today?
I just started like doing a wash on this. Who is this? Mystique. So,
All right.
yeah, just goofing around. I did the initial wash on what do we call it? Daredevil here
Oh yeah.
from the other
That
day.
looks good. That's tight.
So that'll be fun to finish off eventually.
Just add it to the pile of broken dreams.
Yeah, pretty much. So just layering up washes. Of course, now I need water, so it's a good thing I hopped
Glad
on.
to get prepared.
Yeah, I did. So give me a second.
Yeah. Hey Matt, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in.
Matt, too. Why would Matt be watching this?
Why would Matt be what? Why would he be here?
Okay, got my water. I totally walked out on you when you were talking.
Oh, I know. You said something about Matt and then you left.
Yeah, I said, yeah, exactly. I said, why would Matt be watching? Oh, what's he saying? Oh, he's on his way
Stuck
home.
in traffic.
On his way home from the weekend.
Pro tip: next time you go away for the weekend, come back Monday.
Or just don't come back.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're going someplace like a lake house. Oh yeah, I got
So is that a card or is that a larger case?
6x9.
Oh, it's this one. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I didn't feel like I got like another set to work on, but I didn't really feel like starting a project,
All
over
right.
the weekend. So I was like, I'll just kind of goof around with some other things, kind of get them started so I can not finish them later.
Yeah. I'm trying really hard not to start anything new until I finish this, and I still working on that Venom Carnage thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. I got sets starting to pile up now, but
Well, speaking of starting projects, so we started going through the motions in terms of trying to work on the kitchen.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
Oh boy. So we went
I
through
think we need stainless steel appliances all around.
and that's easy. You just write a check, right? It's the cabinets.
Oh jeez.
So it's trying to, well, as you're aware, there appears to be some kind of a shortage in lumber. But there was like an online thing where you can kind of piecemeal your setup, do like a layout kind of a thing. And it was not, just say that the app is not incredibly user friendly.
Oh. Why would it be?
Yeah, no. So it was spent like a good 4 hours trying to figure out how to get the layout. And here's a hint: if you're what was it, IKEA, right? There's this thing where you give the measurements for a room, and then you turn around and like just start stuffing cabinets and stuff in it. Add a couple inches to the room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it automatically starts spacing things out and this, that, and the other. Because it wasn't even really a matter of it was I was just trying to get the layout sorted, not so
Right.
much a full on thing, just to know what we needed, kind of thing. But nothing would fit because you have to have so much spacing here, or you got to have so much spacing there, and it's like real life it'll fit, but in the program it wouldn't. So
So you gotta give it a little extra so the calculations make
something,
sense.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, but we eventually got it figured out. Went to IKEA and then went to IKEA to find out that we can't order anything because the warehouses are empty.
Excellent.
So, but what was cool was like some of the questions that I had about some of the things that did actually get answers for. So,
Were they in Swedish?
no, but I did figure out what it all means, really, just in terms of like you've got all the different names for different things, and it's not everything's really kind of the same. It's just the jewelry that's on it that's different that gives it.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Like for instance, you take a cabinet, every cabinet's the same, but the doors are different.
Right.
And who knew? Probably everybody, but I didn't.
So what are you doing to wash it?
Acrylic.
Acrylic? Okay.
Yeah, it's burnt sienna acrylic ink.
Oh, acrylic ink. Okay.
Yeah.
You use that now stuff?
This is it's Amsterdam.
All right.
It's whatever that Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
I remember talking about this, trying to figure out, well, because you asked me where it was made, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I found the label, and it said the Netherlands. Because why would anything named Amsterdam be from the Netherlands?
Well, it could be made in Mexico. Trying to be fancy like that.
But yeah, a lazy Sunday.
Yeah. We hear you. Know the feeling.
Kind of feel like a nap.
If I take a nap, I'll wake up tomorrow.
What was that? Oh, you know what? Yeah, that was probably the girls with the hose watering plants outside. Yep. I can hear the hose just blasting the side of the house.
That or the dog's taking a leak.
Yeah. Wouldn't really hear it. The little dog. No, my dog. So our neighbors went somewhere went on vacation. They went somewhere or whatever, and then so they basically asked if my daughter would go water their plants while they were gone. So she just went over there and apparently is now watering our plants.
No, that's good. Put her to work.
Yeah. She didn't cut the grass this weekend yet though. But she started she's out of school now. Wednesday was her last day, so
Oh, nice.
it's summer vacation for her.
So when do they go back? In August or September?
Late August.
Before Labor Day, right?
I think so. Like right before, kind of thing.
So you go to school and then there's a long weekend.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't get that. Like here, school's out at the end of June. June 30th. Yeah, pretty much across Canada. And then you're back the Tuesday after Labor Day. Universities and colleges, they finish in May because then they go to exams and whatnot. But
right.
High school, middle school, elementary school, that stuff could run till the end of June. I think it's the same amount of time that you get off. It's just when does it actually start?
All right. Hold on. Let me check in with the girls because I think that they got plans or something.
Okay. Yes, Kevin, there's always a venom in the work somewhere. I think I got a screen commission coming up. I don't think I've ever done her, so. It's a green venom with dreadlocks, boobs.
All right, I walked away when you were talking again.
I was answering a comment.
Oh, the great advice about staying there?
No, Kevin's saying that I'm always working on venom, and it's like, yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's not a venom.
This one's not, but I have venom, like that venom, venomized Nova thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's not done yet. I'm not saying I have a Scream commission coming up. I think after that, I gotta check my list.
Which one's Scream? That yellow one?
I think so. It's on the female symbiotes, right?
Yeah. There's a couple of them, right? There's like Shriek and Scream and It was gosh, I don't ooh. I think I did one that was like a cyborg uh symbiote.
Is there no? Is that a made up one or is that?
No, it's like a real one.
Oh.
I don't remember what her name was. Excuse me.
Bless you. I don't know if that was a sneeze or a cough.
Off.
Oh, okay. Well, that take it back.
Yeah.
I think I need to do a Venom 2099. I've never drawn him.
I want to do I just did a commission for a guy. It was Ghost Spider Gwen.
Yeah.
And he sent me a note saying that, you know, he really liked it and you know whatnot, and he's like he said he definitely wanted to commission me again. And then actually that's a good topic. Anyways, the and he's like really into like all the Gwens, you know, like Spider Gwen, Gwenpool, and the Gwenum.
Gwenum.
Ooh, because you just did one, didn't you?
I sure did.
And because like looking at that and like seeing the design, that looks like it's a fun design.
It is, but there's two looks for Gwenum, right? There's
Right.
that one, and then there's kind of like the animate look, where she's got the teeth on the hood.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I like the one where it's actually like venomized um the Gwen
Spider.
Stacy, Spider Gwen, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just well, they're both great design. First of all, I think Spider Gwen's design is actually pretty darn cool in
Yeah.
general. But you know, the venomized, you know, Spider Gwen is pretty sweet. So yeah, that the topic of commissions. I saw a post in the group. Did you see this? Where I don't remember who it was, but they basically asked, is there like a list of like prices, like commission prices for different artists?
Okay. No, I didn't see it.
Okay. Well, it was an interesting thread because the guy's like, you know, wouldn't it be nice if kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
If you basically you had a list of artists and you knew exactly what everybody's commission rate was, right? And now on its surface, it's like, okay, yeah, that, you know, I totally understand the that thinking.
That's a slippery slope, though.
Exactly. And that's, you know, I wanted to comment on it, but I didn't think that, you know, for A, you know, I mean, I don't know if it translates well if you read it versus like hearing it kind of a thing. But it's like one of those things where I think that when it comes to commission rates for artists, because I think Jay actually responded to it, Jay Peter Ranitz.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, well, hey, you know, I charge X amount of dollars for for commissions, and then there was a lot of discussion about like, you know, the prices may vary because of this or that or the other. And you know, basically I just kind of wanted to say, you know, prices change too, because like say Jay as an example, he's charging right now, he's charging X amount of dollars for a commission, but when he becomes like the bee's knees, the next big thing or whatever, and then you go back to that list that has his name on it where it's like, holy smokes, this guy's like the next rock star, the next Fred Ian, so to speak, and he's only charging $75 per commission. Now he's kind of locked into that because he's on a list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, but that was maybe my price a year ago, but you know, in order to, you know, pay the mortgage, I kind of got to charge more now, you know? So
Yeah.
it's but I thought a lot of the discussion was about like just how comfortable people were with approaching artists.
Oh,
Because it's like, wouldn't it be nice to have a list where you didn't have to
talk to people.
well, not necessarily that, but it's like one of those things where, okay, you ask an artist, hey, how much for a commission? If I commission this, how much would it run me? And then maybe it's not necessarily in your in your
Your
budget,
budget. Yeah.
right? Well, now the guy who asked the question, the client may feel a little,
Intimidated, or not even start the conversation with the artist. Is that what you're going at?
yeah. Like, for instance, like say, as an example, if I said, hey, Dre, I want a commission of a Venom, on a Marvel Masterpieces 2020 AP.
Yeah.
How much is that going to run me?
You? A lot.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, you throw a number out there,
Yeah.
and then I go, ooh, all right, yeah, sorry, I can't do that,
Right.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with, like, me, by asking you and then now turning and showing you that, oh yeah, that's too rich for my blood or whatever, I may feel a little embarrassed or feel like that you as an artist is going to say, yeah, schmuck, you can't pony up, whatever. And I want to get across to people that are looking for commissions. You shouldn't feel that way, and you can't feel that way, and there's no reason to feel that way, because there are many times where whether it be at a comic convention or via PM, somebody asks about a commission or whatever, and your price is your price. I mean, you're not going to change it, but necessarily there are other factors involved, but you shouldn't be afraid of asking, because you might be embarrassed afterwards, because trust me, the artist isn't going to sit there and say, oh my goodness, this schmuck's not, that's just not how we look at it. Like, hey, I get it, it's not in your budget, but hey, keep me in mind when when it's when it is in your budget or whatever. I'd be more than
but the other thing is that, if you have a price, okay, what's the price for an AP? Okay, so it's $100, right? And
right.
That's plastered out there.
Right.
It limits the conversation with the artist, because I've had people that have reached out and said, hey, do you have X AP? Right? And I said, I'm sorry, I don't. Right? Regardless of the price. But and then it's like, but I have this, or this, or you can get a PSC, or you can just get a customs thing, or whatever, right? So build up a dialogue and offer, okay, to say like offer solutions, right? But it's not really offering solutions. But it's like, but even with the AP, hey, you go on AP and it's X amount of dollars, like, okay, too rich for my blood. Like for me, for example, and I'm not hiding it, I'll charge different rates for different AP stocks, right? So premier masterpieces, anything that's kind of a premium set, I charge more for.
Okay.
And it's not because I'll do, I'll spend more time on a masterpieces or premiere than I would on like Endgame. It's just, it's a premium set, so I think in my peanut mind that set should be priced accordingly. So there should be a premium behind it just because of what it is. But if somebody comes and says, I want a masterpieces, and I say, okay, it's X amount of dollars, like, okay, that's out of my budget. If I have AP something else, okay, well, I can do the same thing, but on whatever non-premium set I have available at the time, and that will be a little less, or PSC, and you can have a conversation with the person, right?
Right. You got to have the engagement.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back real quick. I want to talk about, like, differences in pricing. I don't have like, for instance, I don't charge any more for a premium stock than any other stock, because I mean the art's the same, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that that's that catch-22, right? Where, like, for instance, you say, it's a matter of how you put it. You say, oh, well, I charge more for for premium stock than I would, say, like Endgame or whatever,
Mhm.
but where so now it sounds like, oh, okay, well, you're going high on the premium stuff, and then I turn around and say, no, I charge the same for both, right? So
Yeah.
now it sounds like that, on the surface, it sounds like you're probably getting a better deal from me, but the problem is that I'm probably charging more than you are overall. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if I have the same price for both, but my price might be the same as, say, your premium price.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, I
Yeah.
mean, you got to have the conversation with the artist, I mean, just to get, and the other thing is, and this is where I was talking about, like, the prices don't change. They may, because who knows, an artist might be in a dry spell. He's sitting on a bunch of APs. He wants to move. If you don't actually contact the guy and say, hey, how much does this cost? And you just kind of, hope that somebody comes out and says that they're going to offer stuff
Mhm.
or whatever, you may miss out on a deal, because maybe a guy's, he's slow, he's got a slow schedule, doesn't have anything on his plate, got nothing going on, might be willing to offer you a
Yeah.
discount,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but you're never going to know if you don't ask, and asking is always free,
Mhm.
so I don't, that whole, wouldn't it be nice if there was a list and you could just, shop from a menu? That's, on the surface, it sounds like a good idea, but when it's all said and done, is it?
I think it works for some people, but not for others, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, it would be nice to have that information available,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
no,
also,
don't get me wrong. But see, I don't think like a fixed price is necessarily the way to go. I think it'd be more like a range.
yeah.
Like, for instance, for this guy, for Andre Osh, for a commission from him, you're basically looking at anywhere from 100 to $200, depending on what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a little more reasonable than saying, hey, yeah, my AP commissions are $100.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The whole pricing thing, though, like, even from a, I guess, from a collector and also to an artist point of view, it's so weird. Like, nobody really knows how to price themselves.
Oh no, 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 no.
Um,
That's absolutely the case. So, and that's what I'm saying is that the prices change.
yeah.
I mean, you get a guy, and I think I actually mentioned this on the EPAX message board. Somebody it was the same topic, hey, anybody know how much a commissioned AP is? So I popped on there and said, it really depends. It's always free to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. But the if it, I mentioned that if a lot of guys, a lot of artists have a hard time pricing themselves, evaluating their own work,
Mhm.
kind of thing. I think that the collectors are probably better at that, because it's like, I can't compare my work to your work. You know what I mean? They're two different animals, but
Yeah. But a collector can.
yeah, but a collector is going, or a group of collectors amongst themselves in the Borg,
The board.
it's like they've got almost this hive mind where they kind of create the value. They are the market, you know.
Mhm.
They're the ones who really generate the value of sketch card art, right?
But and you know what? Bella touched on this a little bit in the podcast, and she was talking like her audience doesn't really resonate doesn't really respond well to sketch cards,
Right, right,
but she will have, and she sees it based on the likes and comments and engagement when she posts a sketch card,
right.
right? And that just depending on who's looking at it and the preference and stuff like that, like.
And that's the thing too, is that if that's not your main market,
Yeah.
you know what, I don't know what her AP commission prices are, but I'm willing to bet that she is way underpriced, just because of, from her perspective, from her audience, from her market, it's sketch cards aren't high value.
Right.
So in order for her to move them, she's probably dumping them off at like a ridiculously discounted price. And yet every collector in the world is saying, oh, you mean I can get a commission from Bella for X amount? Are you kidding me? Everybody would be jumping on that train. And I think and that goes back to being able to value your stuff. And once you start figuring out how to value it, then your prices start changing. I mean, you can get, like, as an example, I'm a huge fan of like Gordon's work. I just love his work. And I think for like the quality of work that you get from him, he is not charging nearly enough.
Right.
I don't know what Paul Hill's prices are, but I'd be willing to bet that he doesn't charge enough. It's like some of these guys are just like, dude, and every time I find out, and I was like, no, yeah, I mean, just me as a fan, I go, no, you gotta up that number, bro. I mean, even Jay, Peter Ranitz, he threw the number out there and said, I don't have a problem letting everybody know what my AP prices are. He throws a number out there, and I go, yeah, dude, yeah, that's he's undercutting himself,
But it's one of those things where you charge. It's going to sound horrible. You charge whatever people are prepared to pay, right? And just going back to your comment about the hive mentality, really valuing it,
right? Yeah, and I don't think. Well, see, but that's the thing. What's good is, and fortunately, you and I are, we know people, collectors, that are, they won't blow smoke up your butt.
Yeah.
They'll tell you exactly. All right, in the market, what's your value?
Yeah.
They'll straight up say, yeah, dude, you'll never be able to get more than this, for one of your APs. But he or she will say, right now, as your name builds or whatever, yeah, you're going to be able to charge, because we've seen, some of the guys that are, some of the guys and or gals that maybe, top dogs in the market, so to speak, as sketch card artists. And it's like, but people throw top dollar at it, and it may or may not be, that's not exactly the best piece I've seen from that person.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all, yes.
That's all subjective.
Yes, it's all subjective, but also I think that once you get, like, the collectors, when the hive gets together and they basically say, okay, this is what this guy's stuff is worth, then it's kind of set in stone. I think you're probably, yeah, but again, that's also from pack polls.
Yeah, because a lot of it is going to be dictated as to the resale value, right? And this is where it's weird, because you'll see stuff resell at a ridiculous price sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Where
and there's no way you could sell an AP for the same cost that somebody paid for a pack pull on eBay.
Well, that's because some people value pack pulls more than APs, and I don't understand that. Somebody was talking about that not too long ago, that they value pack pulls a lot higher. And that's not everyone, but
Right. No, I think I get it to some degree because I think it's the whole gambling thing. It's the thrill of the hunt to some degree. I mean, it's like, seriously, it's like, okay, let's say you're a Venom collector, right? And you go, okay, I want an Andre Osh Venom. Well, just dude, shoot him a PM and say, hey Andre, I want you to do a Venom for me. Well, that's too easy.
right.
I'd rather go out there and either whether it be like just fighting tooth and nail on the message boards on ePack and trying to trade for it and then or buying it on eBay or whatever that chase, and then when it's all said and done, you get your prize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now,
and I get it. I'm saying like
and
some
then well, I
people,
think
but
that's where that is. But when it's all said and done, you spend 6 months trying to barter with somebody to get this Andre Osh Venom pack pulled card, right? And it's like, yes, I finally got it. I win. And then it's like, dude, 6 months ago, you could have commissioned him to do it, and it would have been way better because he didn't have a 10-minute deadline to jam out that Venom. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's where the value is in pack pulls is the hunt, right?
Yeah, but then you get some guys that are just like, I don't care. I just want the sketch from the artist.
Right.
Right. And they'll value the AP over the pack pull any day.
Right. Now, yeah, when you look at strictly the numbers, and it's not even characters or anything like that, but just for artists in general, if you want a card from this artist, right? On the pack pulls, you get like depending on like for instance, I'm probably absolutely worthless as an artist. Uh just in the sense that like for instance for Premiere 19, right? I think I did like 120 cards. It's like whatever, dude. They're a dime a dozen, right? Whereas somebody else did 10.
Right. So the rarity
Yeah,
factor. That's an interesting
now
one too.
there's value there. Now you turn around and take away. Now you go into the AP route, and it's like say somebody did 10. They did 10 cards for Premiere, right?
They have one AP.
120. If you get like 10%, let's say 10% of your cards are APs, I get 12 APs, but that guy only gets one. There's only one AP for that guy.
Yeah, so that should theoretically value higher.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that, even from, it's like, 12 APs from Warner, whatever, but there's only one AP from like Fred Ian.
Yeah.
Of course, he just does what he wants and puts it on eBay anyways, and when I say he, I mean they. Or
yeah, and they said they just don't want to deal with back and forth and everything. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do on these cards, and
I think a lot of it may be the because he's international,
right? And the approval and everything else.
Well, so. Also, I mean, who the heck wants to? I mean, do you want to run a translation, program every time you have to interact with somebody? For an AP.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's like somebody from. If somebody didn't speak English and wanted an AP from me, I was like, oh, dude, gonna have to figure something out. But that's like maybe one person. You take somebody like him, and it's like everybody, the entire world.
Yeah.
I haven't gone international yet. Not really. I'm not a worldwide name, and
You're not a worldwide phenomenon.
I'm not a household name in Singapore, so to speak. You know. But yeah, I thought it was just an interesting conversation. And it was one of those one of those threads that you really want to post in, and then you go, yeah, but unless you have the right tone, or it can easily be read the wrong way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that's easier to vocalize than to type.
Mm-hmm.
But I do find it to be an interesting. I've always found it an interesting topic in terms of just the value of commissions, art in general. Why does this guy why does this guy charge that amount, this guy charge this amount, so on and so forth. So I
Well,
mean,
I think Jay on another post explained how he prices. He looks into how long it takes him to do something, what he
right.
wants to get an hour, and then add a material cost to it, right?
What he does?
Sorry?
Who?
Jay.
Jay.
Peter. Peter Burnett.
Peter Ranitz. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because he posted like a couple of weeks ago. He posted something and he did the pricing, and he actually said this is why it's priced like this. It's the amount of time takes 4 hours. I want to make X amount of dollars per hour plus maybe have 10% for materials, right? And that I mean, logistically, that's I would imagine the best way to price things.
Right.
I personally I don't do that because I tend to spend way too long on something.
Right.
And if I start doing it on the per hour rate, the prices are going to go a little stupid.
It's going to be thousands for an AP.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you want to pay $1,200 for an AP?
Yeah, pay me hourly.
Yeah, no problem. I'm all over that, right? But yeah, it just depends on how it gets positioned. And I think it's naive not to look at resale value of your own art, because that should dictate things. Like if your cards are reselling on eBay for $35,
yeah,
you should take that into consideration as to
how much.
How much it charges. But if your stuff's selling for like $8,000-9,000,
yeah,
maybe that should dictate a bump in your rate.
Yeah,
because a lot of people that collect sketches are personal collections, but that's not all of them.
Yeah, I know that, like, because Norin talks about eBay a lot in terms of trying to figure, and it just in regular cards, regular base cards, and trying to figure out the value of cards and stuff. You go into you search for something and you look for what things have sold for, right?
Yeah.
For base cards. Now, base cards, that makes sense, right? Because then it gives you an idea of what the value of the card is. Maybe somebody got a deal, maybe somebody overpaid. It all kind of averages out. But if you turn around and look at like sold, like for instance, if I went into eBay and looked at my cards that sold, the pack pulls, on the resale of these things, dude, you're going anywhere from $200 to $10, right? I mean, it's like it's all over the place. I mean, even if you look at ones that are for sale now, if you go look up Dre sketch card, right, you're gonna have cards that are like, all right, this one's like for sale for $30, this one's for sale for $100, this one's for 12, this one's for 300. I mean, it's all over the map, so it's very hard. I find it to be very hard to value, unlike base cards, to turn around and try and evaluate what the price of sketch cards are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And
Because
actually,
somebody will sit there and say, okay, you take like a Marvel Masterpieces Luke Cage, base card as an example. That's going to go for way more on eBay than a Luke Cage sketch card. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I only say that because Luke Cage is not necessarily a highly collected character, but
Well, this is where the aftermarket
the nature of Masterpieces is that's a numbered card. There's only so many of them.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is where the character comes into play as well, and the value on the aftermarket, right?
Right.
Because a Luke Cage, like, what was it? There was a Palumbo 5x7 prelim of Werewolf by Night on eBay recently.
Oh yeah.
Right. I'm gonna say that went for 1,200.
Okay.
That's a 5x7. If that was a 5x7 Spider-Man, that probably would have been 4.
Right.
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 So that's where the character makes a difference as well. But going back to the initial topic of having a price list of all the artists, what that creates is there's a lot of people, and I think most of the people that I do commissions for, it's private collection.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be the ones that don't mind waiting 6 months.
Right.
But the moment you do that, and let's say there's the investor collector, and I'm not knocking anyone, right? If you're an investor collector, power to you, right?
Right.
But by all means, do it, right? But when an investor collector sees the rates there, and they say, let's see, top rated artist that he knows resells on eBay for $500, $600, $700, right?
Right.
So if it's artist X, a Spider-Man from artist X is going to be $5.
Right.
If they see that person charges, let's say, 150 for an AP,
right.
If I was an investment collector, I would go to that artist and say, how many APs do you have?
And I'll
6,
take them
7,
all.
8, 9, 10. I'll take them all. I want Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, Iron Man.
Right.
Get those in and flip them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that side of the game. But that's the thing is that that's what I mean by the whole hive mind.
Yeah.
Where
sorry. Freddie N just posted the image of tomorrow's card.
Yeah, I already tagged Amanda on the Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how they're going to crop this, because this is going to look stupid when it's cropped.
Yeah.
I hope they don't crop out the card.
They're clearly going in alphabetical order.
Yeah, I think we knew that.
It took a few weeks.
Original art now sold.
Yeah, they're only on D's. Yeah, I don't the whole like basing your rate or your rate on like the hourly rate kind of a thing. I think that's a very, very practical way of doing it. And I mean, that's how I do like graphic design. There's a base cost and then, hourly after that. You hit that mark. And I think that's the way to do it when you're doing, work for hire, so to speak, but like more like in a graphic design aspect. When it comes to more of the creative, artsy side of things, I think, and you probably heard this quote, but it was, I want to say it was Sergio Aragonés. And it was at a convention. This had to have been like 20 years ago or something. somebody came up and asked him to do a sketch, if he would do a sketch for him at a convention. He does the sketch and he just jams out, something in like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Jams it out and then like charges them, I don't know, whatever it was, like $100 or something, right? How's Sergio Aragones? He's like international, cartoonist. Everybody knows the guy, right? And apparently the client turns around and says, $100, it only took you like 10 minutes to do that. And his reply, I want to say it was him that said it. I think it gets accredited to like John Romita Sr. or something a lot, or Buscema or something like that. But I think it was Sergio that actually said it. He said, "You're not paying for what I just did now. You're paying for the 50 years that it took for me to learn how to do this."
Oh yeah, there's tons of variations on that quote, and multiple people said similar things. It's like,
right.
I mean, the most common one is when you hire, something's wrong with your HVAC or something, right? And you bring someone over, and you pay like $150 an hour, and then they look at the system, and then they just like flip a switch or take a screw and switch one little thing, and you're like, what the hell, $150 to change a screw?
Right.
Like, you're not paying me to change the screw. You're paying me to know which screw to change when.
Exactly.
Right. Matt brings a good point. Seems more and more artists doing APs on their own and listing them on their personal eBays. I guess try and capitalize on the market instead of charging ahead of time. Yeah, that's a very
now, Matt now see, I think that the way that I read that from Matt is that people, like you'll do an AP and then list it, and like for instance, you'll do a Venom or a Wolverine and then list it. That's the way I'm reading that, but I've also seen guys that turn around and like list on eBay, like,
oh, they're blanks.
List a blank and say, I'll do whatever you want.
Right, and I've seen that for anime. I think, yeah.
And that's a smart way of doing it for sure. And that's actually, what, it would be kind of cool. Now I don't know, I mean, with the group that then things could get a little bit weird with that kind of a scene, but it would be kind of, instead of a list of like what prices are, it would be kind of neat to have that option to turn around and say, hey, I've got, X amount of APs, and then just like bid on them,
Yeah, but that's like you talked about this. That's actually against the terms, and the reason they put in the bidding rule for that exact reason.
No, and I'm saying that would be cool from like my perspective, but from a collector's perspective, that's pretty shady, just in the sense. But I'm looking at it from this perspective of, boy, I'd rather not have to, embarrass myself, quote unquote, embarrass myself by asking for a price and not being able to make it, where I could literally just see it and say, yeah, too rich for my blood, I'm not even going to bid, kind of a thing. Then that kind of eases that side of things. But it gets shady because it's he who has the most money wins all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for instance, like, I don't know, you take a high roller in the card game that turns around and he could literally buy up every AP, ever produced. But, Joe Schmuckatelli, who's, working a 9 to 5, busting his hump every day, but digs cards. That's why I say it never hurts to ask. It's cheap, it's free to ask how much, because if you don't ask, that high roller over there is going to, and he's going to snatch up all those APs.
Yeah.
So you don't, never wait,
There's no harm in asking.
No, it's It's
Hey, listen, I think it was talking to Rodney when I said I reached out to, like, I'm a huge fan of Ricardo Federicchi's art, right? Um, and his paintings are unreal. And a couple of months ago, he posted on his Facebook, he's like, "Oh, look, I found these sketches," right?
right,
And just the way he worded is like, "Oh, I just found these sketches I didn't even know I had. Is this something, if anyone would be interested in them, shoot me a DM," right?
right,
So I
right,
was like, "Oh man, here's an opportunity. I could maybe, that might be affordable for me, right? Because I don't collect. I don't really have like a collection fund or anything like that, right?"
right,
So I reach out to him and I say, because he posted like 20 different things. I'm like, "Hey man, huge fan of your work, blah 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 blah. Saw that you have these sketches. If you can let me know, get a sense of what the pricing is like. See
right,
if it's affordable." He comes back, tells you what the price is like totally out of my what I was hoping they
right.
would be. And I get it, right? I wasn't like, "Oh my God, you're overpriced." Never mind that he's saying sketches, but they're all 11 by 17.
Yeah,
Right? So in the
11 by
picture, you think
17
it's
is
like
big.
a little, like, yeah, you think it's like a little like 4 by 6. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
an
yeah.
11 by 17 Darth Vader with the Death Star behind it.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Like he prefaced it with saying like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Canada." That's okay. You look at about $55 US for shipping,
wait,
right? At which point I should have been like, "Okay, I
wait.
know where this is going," right? But they all sold.
Oh my goodness. And that's the thing is like, and it goes back to the whole, how do you price things? It's
Yeah.
like as an example, let's just say just for giggles, okay? Like you take Palumbo's stuff, right? For whether it be magic or well, I don't know anything about the magic stuff, so I can't really speak to it. But for the masterpieces stuff, I'm curious, like if there was a point where he turned around and was like, he does his prelims for any piece, and it's like, yeah, he just throws them away, you know. And then I mean, I know for a fact, like with Juiceco and some of these guys earlier on, especially early on in the card game, I mean, they're still coming across like prelims that they did in the 90s.
Right, but there was no
But
market
back
for it
then,
back then.
yeah, nobody cared. So like at what point did they turn around and say, "Oh my goodness, this thumbnail I did for a layout for something that became this iconic image is now all of a sudden worth something," you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
But Magic has a big part in that because
do they do a
original.
lot of the prelim stuff?
I don't know if they do a lot of the prelim stuff, but original art for Magic cards,
Oh yeah,
huge
yeah, yeah. I
market,
know that, but
huge market, right?
I'm wondering if it's the same with the let's say what happened with like the prelims and stuff like that for or what they're valued at for like masterpieces 20, if that's that same kind of vibe with magic,
Well,
or that a
I
whole
don't know, but I think it primarily depends on how the artists work, right? Like
right,
Palumbo does the prelims, right?
right,
A lot of people do digital prelims or color studies. And
right,
I can't remember if it was an interview, an article I read about the magic artists, that a lot of magic artists, the guys that do stuff on a regular basis, went back to traditional art instead of digital because of the resale value.
right,
Right? Because if you did a Photoshop painting, doesn't matter how gorgeous it is. Yeah, it's got its commercial use in the card,
but you can't
but
sell.
you have nothing to resell. You can maybe do some prints or whatever, but that's not the same as selling the original, 10, 8, like whatever, even 5 by 7, right? The original 5 by 7 for a card, or 7 by 5 because they're landscapes. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people went back to traditional for that exact purpose, right? And I think
And
people maybe
that's
are
kind
starting.
of where I am now. I mean, like doing comic conventions and stuff. I used to do I used to do prints. I actually stopped doing prints entirely. Um, but I used to do prints, and it's like you draw something, ink it, and then digitally color it, and and then just do a bunch of prints and sell them and stuff. And I mean, it can be, you can make money on that stuff, but there's nothing. but the original is just a line drawing.
Right.
You
Oh,
know,
you can always make prints of a painting.
right, right. But exactly. So my thing is that I actually got out of the print game and only did originals, right?
Hmm.
And now I'm kind of considering doing prints, but doing them like limited run prints, and then
Oh,
having
like numbered and hand
yeah,
signed.
exactly numbered and signed, and just that's it. That's all there are, you know. And then having the original to, just because, it's just I think the management that was a problem with that whole print game is management of it, right? Because it's just like trading cards, right?
Hmm.
Like you could have a whole deck, whole set of trading cards, but not everybody in the world is going to want, you know, that entire set.
Yep.
They may only want this subset, or they may only want
Take a
this
picture.
character or whatever. So it's like when you get in the print game and stuff, it's like you'll go to I remember going to a convention and it's like, hey, do you have everybody at a convention was like, you got any Deathstroke? You got any Deathstroke? You got any Deathstroke? And you had no Deathstroke. You had like every other character, but no Deathstroke. But that's all that anybody wanted. So what do you do for the next convention?
Deathstroke.
You do a Deathstroke. Now everybody's like, now you go to the next convention and they're like, hey, you got any Aquaman? It's like, who the hell draws Aquaman?
Everybody.
And so now nobody's got Aquaman, but that's all that anybody wants. It's like, well, what about this Deathstroke that everybody wanted?
That's so
Deathstroke.
last week.
Let's see what is Matt saying here. I can't see because it says I've seen where.
Hang on, let me bring it up on screen.
Okay. Is it on screen?
Second.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, so like talking about like a remark. See, I do like when I do my books, like when I sell books, and this is something that I picked up from Kevin Eastman. Is that every time Kevin Eastman signs a turtle book, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book, he always does like a quick head sketch on it.
Well, a lot of people do that, right?
He's the first one I seen do it, and I saw it and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, because it's like, it kind of, in a way, because he signs every book like that, it's not original, but it is because it's an original sketch. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not original because every single signed copy of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book by Kevin Eastman has a head sketch on it. But that head sketch is unique because that's it's not like a reprint of the same head sketch. That's something that you sat there and watched him draw. So I do that when I sell my books.
You do a remark? Yeah. All right. Give me a couple of minutes. I'm gonna mute myself. Gotta do something. I'll be back. Let me put this here. And I think this should be dry in a couple of minutes. I can start doing a glaze. Okay, give me a minute.
Yep.
Or sing.
No. Trying to read this, but I can't scroll up enough. find a good. What would be a good song? Oh, would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar. You'd be better off as you are. Or would you rather be a fish? A fish is an animal that swims in a brook. He can't write his name or read a book. Watching paint dry on the left side and watching it get wet on the right. Is he's still doing an ink wash on that, right? I think. I think that looks like he's about ready to start going to color. But yeah, I think remarks on prints are, for me anyways, I think is a little because I mean you're getting the print for the sake of the artwork on the print, and you really don't want to disturb it. I know a lot of people go for that. A lot of collectors. There are a lot of collectors that are like totally into that thing. But for me personally, I think it's more like if you're getting a limited print, it's because it's a limited print and because of the artwork on the print. Remarks on them are like, yeah, you just disturbed it, kind of a thing. But like comic books, I think that's one of those things where it's like, they're like a dime a dozen, who cares? It's like, comic book is what, like $3, $5 or whatever. You can get one with a remark, and if you want to keep it pristine, then you can just get another one, but it's also, you're not getting the book for the cover necessarily. You're getting the book for the book to read the story, I do know that so I've got some friends that are in they're in that market where they do they do prints and artwork and different stuff, like different books and so on and so forth. And there's a really heavy collector market for getting things slabbed and remarked and signed and this, that, and the other. And
what did I miss?
I'm just talking about remarks and
okay,
and collectors in general. So like in that market with doing like prints and comic books and remarks and signing and stabbing and doing all that stuff, that was one of those things where like when like Forney is into that, Forney and Fife, and they were trying to explain to me just how the market of collectors kind of operate. And it was one of those things that was like, are you kidding me? Really? That's how it works? That really, collectors really spend that kind of money. They really, go that hard after it. And it's like, oh yeah, dude. Big deal.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between the card collector and the comic book collector and the original art collector, right?
But what I'm talking about is this select group of collectors. It's a smaller group of collectors. They are very, very much like card collectors in that sense. There's some things where it's like, yeah, they gotta have it. They gotta have it.
Right.
And it's that rabid collector mentality. And it was something that those guys were explaining to me, and this is before I even got into cards. They're trying to explain how the not the casual collector in terms of the guy that goes to the comic shop every Wednesday, picks up his books and goes home, reads them, and they're. I'm talking about the guys that go out and like buy stuff on auction that are remarked and stuff like that, right? And my mind was blown by that entire market,
But
right?
this is the investment collector, right?
Yes, and not necessarily. They just have to have it because they have to have it.
Oh, this is the gambling collector.
Yeah, so it was so like now fast forward, get into the card scene, and it's like it's very much the same, you know. And it's not necessarily the whole resale thing or the flipping thing. It's just they just have the same mentality. So like for card collectors, they is that it? Is that done? You're just doing a black and white, or are you coloring it?
No, I'm doing the colors. I'm just doing
Oh, okay,
the base glaze for the background,
okay,
and
okay.
then once that dries, I'm gonna start doing the full colors.
So, anyways, I was I guess what I'm saying is that like because there's not a big crossover between card collectors and comic collectors.
Not yet. I think
Not,
that's coming, and that's coming fast.
well, and maybe that's what I'm getting to right now is that I think that there's a very huge correlation between the two in the sense that they're the same type of collector. They just kind of stay in their lane, so to speak. But I think that I could see like card collectors, like as an example, you got like guys like take a Matt Fuller as an example.
Yeah.
Huge sketch card guy, right? Big collector of sketch cards. And I don't see him getting out of his lane. I see him just doing that's cool. I'm just doing sketch cards, whatever. But I can see a lot of guys turn around and say, wait a minute, I can get a sketch cover. And you'd be amazed if you go to a comic convention and get a sketch cover, I'll almost guarantee you that you will find a sketch cover like, well, let me put it to you this way. When I do a sketch cover, it's going to be very close, if not the same price as like say an AP. But it's a bigger piece.
Right. But I think this is where it kind of gets a little muddy, is that an AP from a person that worked on an officially licensed set.
Yeah.
There's a premium on that because it's official to a certain degree, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's why, unless you're, a Jusko, Palumbo, Ian, Boris, Julie, one of those top-notch artists, where if you get an AP from them, you give them a blank, right?
Yeah.
Right. A Boris sketch card is going to be worth a ton of money, regardless of whether he worked on the set or not, right?
Right. But
a Joe Schmo sketch card from a person that's never worked on a set,
right,
or done any official work is not going to have the same value.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I guess, to my point, is which is more valuable? Like, say, a sketch card, regardless of the set, a sketch card from Boris of a Marvel character, or a sketch cover.
I'd say it's sketch cover, but I guess it depends on the person. Well, I guess it depends on the person, right?
Right. So, I mean, it's just I just find it you're right. It just gets muddy,
Right, because who's the artist, and ultimately who's the collector, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a character collector, I think, I don't know, man. I think it's going to vary. Like, ultimately comes down to something's worth as much as someone's prepared to pay for it.
like as an example, let's say let's take Bill Sienkiewicz as an example. Okay.
Yeah.
If he does,
No, hang on. Matt says size matters sometimes, but also some like the cards for displaying, storing. Right? Like
yeah,
again, it depends on the person, right?
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's depends on what they collect and what and to be honest, I guess what I'm saying is that for the most part, I think card collecting is definitely an easier and more affordable route to go. But what I'm
Than
saying,
like full on original art or
yeah,
sketch covers.
for cards for original art, you would think that it would be more affordable. What I'm saying is that not necessarily. I mean, there are guys that do sketch covers exclusively, and and they're making decent money, but that's kind of their bag, and that's what they're known for, and so on and so forth. Like as an example, like Forney, for instance, he charges more for his sketch covers than probably for his sketch cards, but I guarantee you that I'm probably charging more for my sketch cards than either he is for his sketch covers, but definitely for his cards. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
guess, but that goes to the artist, right? But if you
Mm-hmm.
take like a Bill Sienkiewicz and you say, okay, which is worth more as a Sienkiewicz sketch, a sketch card of Wolverine, okay, or a sketch cover of Elektra?
I think it's going to come down to the collector, right?
Right, right. But
Like a Wolverine collector is probably going to be all over it.
right, right. But Sienkiewicz did that Elektra miniseries. Yeah, that'd be like is a Wolverine sketch card or a New Mutants sketch cover worth more? Same guy,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's like I said, that's a question for the hive mind.
Well, and also goes to the art galleries when you go to that level, right? Like
Right.
Synchrony,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, was it a European gallery? Is it an American gallery? Is it,
Yeah.
like if you had the opportunity to commission top level artists, now I'm talking sketch card or anything, I'm talking top level artist.
Yeah.
Right? And would you get an AP or would you get a 5x7? Assuming the price on either one of them it wasn't an issue.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and that's a good question.
No, well, I know. I'm asking you.
Oh,
What
you're
would
asking
you
me
do?
specifically?
Yeah. If you could get a commission for Sienkiewicz, would you? And he said, "What do you want? Like Fleer Ultra? You want a Daredevil AP? Or you want a 5x7 blank stock?"
Oh yeah, like PSC.
Yeah, but like a larger one, not a PSC.
Right. No, I
like
got
a 5x7, right?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I would definitely go with the 5x7.
Yeah.
But that's me because.
But man.
But that's got nothing to do. That's got nothing to do with cards or not cards. Doesn't matter. It's about the art and and the artist, right?
Yeah, the art and the artist, then going back to the collector as to what they're doing it for. Are you a fan of the art? Are you a fan of the collection? Are you a fan of, right?
Well, even it doesn't even, you don't even have to go big league. I can tell you from personal experience. because I've done the claim sales, right? I'll do a claim sale and the cards just disappear.
The license stuff,
No, no.
the
The
PSCs.
PSC, yeah, people buy that up, but like something like this where and those are just sketches, marker, and and ink, on those. People eat those up, but I'll do a full painting on 6x9. Not nearly as much interest.
Yeah, but I think that part of it comes down to,
That's the audience.
again, the audience, right?
Now that being said, I do have to say that I am surprised. I mean, I expect that, based on that market or this market, whatever, but I am pleasantly surprised to see how much people do, like card guys. I've had several card collectors buy the 6x9 paintings, which is a pleasant surprise. But it's not as much as you would think, just in the sense that, dude, it's a bigger piece, more's in it, more is put into it, it's a better piece overall because it's easier to work on something bigger. I mean,
Yeah.
Look at what you're doing right now. How big is that?
5x7.
Right.
Yeah, but I couldn't do
Now,
this on the
whoever that commission is for.
Yeah, whichever nut job commission does.
Yeah, complete psycho. No, but whoever commissioned that is going to certainly appreciate that more than if you were to just jam that out on a sketch card, But
yeah, like it comes down to the concept as well, right? Because I couldn't do this on a sketch card. There's no way. I don't work that small, right? I can't. And even if I did that Captain America cover recreation for a commission, and listen, it was a fun piece to do. It was for the most part, there are some parts I'm like, this is too small to try to get the amount of detail that I would want to get into a card, right? Because it's just not suitable, right? But again, I think it goes down to the collector and what they want.
It comes down to wall space in the man cave.
Yeah, or wall space, right? This is going over the toilet to scare the little shit out of people. Just make sure you're stocked up on toilet paper. You okay? You all right?
Yeah, Gagger.
So she said, "Booyah!"
Ooh, lung oyster.
You gonna make it?
Gonna get that?
Nope. I'll get it. I gotta wrap up soon. I'm calling back.
Well, you're not even open, right?
What do you mean? Yeah, no, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my cell phone.
Oh, okay.
I gotta say, I do like doing the ink wash, like the detailed ink wash.
The for the base.
Yeah, like doing the full tonal study and ink makes this a lot easier because all the values are there. I just got to do a couple of coats of yellow.
Right.
Like it's still wet, so I'm going really light.
Yeah,
to get kind of a base, like the base color. But yeah, this is gonna
Yeah, and what's funny is that you could just do the coat of yellow on it and then be done. But you're gonna add some more tones of yellow in that, and that's
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah. I'm just doing the base color now, right?
But
Um,
what I'm saying is that Mark Sparacio, he's a painter, does a lot of painted covers, um, and when he does what's cool is he does like limited prints, and he calls them lithographs. But he'll do like a limited print run of like say a character, just a piece, but the print itself is just in graphite, right?
okay.
So he does the drawing in graphite, and then he sells the prints. But like at conventions, he actually offers them, hey, okay, you can either get it, straight up, um, just the pencil drawing as a print, or he'll turn around. It's on like a board stock where
Oh, that's probably done on cotton paper. Yeah.
yeah, and he sits there and he'll paint. If you commission him, he'll actually paint it right there at the show. It's basically like if you took that whole tonal thing and had prints made of it, right, and then
Yeah, and then paint over it.
paint over it like you're doing now,
Yeah.
which when things open back up and you start doing cons, that might be a route that you can go where you just have tonal things like that and you do them as prints as a limited run, and then you can sit there and it's like, yeah, I can color this for X amount of dollars, and just get your commission, get commissions that way.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And that might be actually a loop a way around the whole print license thing
Bingo.
because it is a one-off. To mix media one-off, right?
Right. Well, I mean, everything's a one-off if it's numbered, right? So there's only one number 28 of 150.
No. But you remember we are talking about this with Gordon the other day, and he kind of
Yeah.
didn't really want to talk about it, and I don't want to get into either because that's again another rabbit hole.
Right.
But
But you
the,
know what I'm
the
saying, that
yeah,
you're right. It's it's
it
you
becomes a one and one, and even if it's numbered out of 25 or 50, it's still a one of one because
right.
it's not like there's 25 identical copies of it.
Exactly.
Right?
So,
I mean, it's the same concept as like if you had a pencil template, right?
yep.
And you said, "Hey, you want a painting of this?" Sure, and then you do the graphite transfer
Yep.
and paint it.
Yep.
Right? It's the same thing.
Yep. Exactly. Well, it's kind of like that. What was it? What were you working on? Was it a Thanos?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That
Where
print.
you were doing your demonstration of how to cheat,
Yeah.
rip off somebody else's work.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. Even though
Surprisingly, nobody bought that yet.
what's that?
Surprisingly, nobody bought that.
Is it for sale?
It will be. Well, no, I'm gonna probably just give it to someone that orders a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I can't. You know what? Like honestly, I know I probably could like do those and put them up on eBay and sell them for like $20, $30, whatever,
Yeah.
and make a good return on it. But I can't.
Yeah, you
I
can't do
can't
it.
bring myself.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
you just feel shady.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe aftermath.
but when it's all said and done, this goes back to your point. Even though that you literally painted over somebody else's artwork, that is a one of one.
Yeah.
By just by nature. It's a one of one, and it is quote unquote your one of one.
Yeah, I mean, my whole point with that is that people don't say what it is. And it's
Right.
about
Yeah.
the
No, I know.
transparency and
No,
the honesty of it, right?
I was speaking strictly, by the numbers, not by morality.
Right. We ain't got no morals here.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's
If you want morals, this is the wrong place to be on a Sunday. Um,
yeah, it's Sunday. Go to church.
but so I gotta say, I like the way this is looking with the faded, with the desaturated colors, because it's just such a light wash.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the way it's looking.
Yeah. It's almost one of those things where you don't want to get too bright with it. Maybe even like as you work with your tones, in the colors, actually muddy it up a little bit just to give it a little more, give it that grit.
Well, I think it's going to get it organically.
Yeah, unless you go to opaque.
Yeah, which is what I'm not going to do, because I do want to maintain the black lines. I mean, it's going to get lost to a certain degree,
Right,
but I
right.
do want to maintain some of that, the 3 hours of doing line work.
I mean, to be honest, I can't tell you. I can't really say, whoever that client is, what his taste is. But I think for me, I would be like, oh yeah, just make sure keep that grittiness. And let's just say I hope he likes that grittiness, seeing as how I just finished a commission for him. So
Yeah, because if you don't, sorry.
don't, no refunds.
What's your refund policy? There is none.
What's a refund?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's actually, I just did a commission. This was the Spider Gwen commission, and I had a stack of them that I had to knock through, and still got one left. But I had a bunch of them go through, and the Spider Gwen, it was like I worked on the other two, and I'm pretty happy with the way that they turned out. Or at least I was when I finished it, and then like the next day, just like everything else,
You look at it and you're like, burn it, start over.
And yeah, exactly. But it was that commission. I was like, oh my goodness, I was not incredibly thrilled with it at all. And I got an email from the guy who's like, dude, you knocked it out of the park. And I'm like, whew, that's a dodge that bullet,
But that, you know what? And I'm sure I've talked about this before.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about this.
You get in your own head, and what happens is you envision something in your head, right?
Yep.
And you finish the piece, and you're like, this is not what I wanted it to look like.
Right.
But that's because you have that reference in your head of what you did want it to look like.
Yep.
People looking at it, they don't know, right? They just see like, holy shit.
Yeah,
that's cool.
they don't see what's in your head.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, because then they would absolutely ask for that refund.
Yeah, it's like, okay, please lose my number.
No, that's exactly right, and that goes back to the evaluation, topic. It's you have to realize that, like, especially as a card artist, I know that I've got my lane in terms of stuff that I do. It's like take Bella as an example. I'm never going to be Bella, I can certainly get to a point where I can be, maybe as good as her, or maybe I am already, but it's just a different thing. It's a different approach. And just because you see everybody, like, just because I see everybody sitting there going gaga over Dre doesn't mean that Dre is better than me. What it means is that I just have a different audience than Dre. you know?
But that's the same for everything, right? Like,
Right. No, exactly.
like for all of them, right? Like, there's people that like the people's work, right? And I know I've talked about this for sure
Yeah.
before. Like, there's the appreciation of the art behind it and the skill, and then there's the appreciation of the actual aesthetic of it,
Right.
right? This is why I don't think I've ever knocked anyone's art.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No. No, I agree.
Unless you're photocopying shit.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I will knock you all day
Unless you're a
long.
thief.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's the thing is that like there's some guys like, you know, as an example.
Rich is here.
What?
How long are you gonna be? Rich is here. Stockdale is here. How long are you gonna be? Can I tell him to come back or what?
Oh yeah, I'll come out right now. I gotta roll.
Okay.
I know you're close to wrapping.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the belt, so I'll be done in like 2 minutes.
All right.
And I have some right here. But okay, man. Thanks for hopping on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, we'll do.
And I'll catch up to you later.
All right, dude.
All right.
Yeah, later.
Later. All right. Well, I'm just about done for the day as well. I think I made really good progress on this today. All that time spent on the underpainting is paying off because the coloring is a lot simpler than it would have been if I was painting from scratch. I think overall time spent, it would have been the same. It's just different look, and yeah. So just make sure I get all the areas here covered. Don't want any white spots. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I'm about to wrap up too. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having fun in traffic. And we will chat later. I will be streaming later this week, hopefully Friday. Most likely Friday with a couple of people to work on the Babes of Retro. I'll schedule that event, make sure I get everyone confirmation. Then throughout the week, if I can, later in the day, I'll have fun. That's it for me now. I think there's maybe 2 more sittings to finish this piece. Then she can get signed, varnished, and shipped out to his or her forever home. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.